What's up everyone, Jurassic Ninja, and welcome to the Big Ball Show, a show where I discuss risky or very risky decisions that are made in the video game industry. Now it could be an individual or an entire company. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the hit game GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64. GoldenEye is a first-person shooter video game developed by Rare and published by Nintendo. It was released in August 1997 with rave reviews. Everyone loved it. The game was a smash hit. GoldenEye features a single-player campaign that follows the story from the movie. Although the single-player campaign was extremely fun, it was the 4-player multiplayer mode that put this game on every kid's Christmas list. Literally everyone wanted this game. Even if you only owned a PlayStation, you were making friends with people you didn't even know just so you can play the multiplayer mode. In the very early days of coming up with ideas for this game, it was actually going to be a 2D side-scroller, much like Donkey Kong, another Rare title. However, Martin Hollis, the game director, decided that he wanted to make a 3D shooter for the Nintendo 64. A small ball moment. When development began on 007 GoldenEye, the Nintendo 64 didn't even exist yet, but they wanted to make it anyway, even though they had no clue the 3D limits the Nintendo 64 could even perform. But the team wanted it to happen, so they decided to make the game anyway, and that's a pretty big ball moment. The original designing team was very small, just a handful of guys, like I think less than 10. In the early days, they would visit the film set and take as many reference shots as they could. They were even given the set's blueprints so they can design the game levels. A lot of game studios probably don't even do that today. Another thing the game studios probably don't do today is that they were also given an early version of the movie script so they can design the game's story. Now, even actors like on Marvel don't even get freaking scripts today anymore, just like little snippets, you know? It's crazy. While creating the game, in order to test it, they didn't even have a Nintendo 64 controller in the beginning. They used a highly modified Sega Saturn controller. That's pretty crazy. As all game designs go through, there were a lot of hurdles to go through and a ton of game testing to get this game just right, which they did through blood, sweat, and tears and over 100-hour work weeks. That's insane. Now the biggest mega huge ball moment would have to be the 4-player multiplayer mode, which is there. The multiplayer mode wasn't even going to be part of the final game. It wasn't created until a few months before the game's final release. On top of that, they created it without permission from Nintendo or even Rare. Martin Hollis, the game director, tasked Steve Ellis to program the multiplayer mode in an extreme short time span. It's ridiculous, like 3 to 6 months. And here's a direct quote. "One of the things that always strikes me as crazy in retrospect is that until something like March or April of 1997, there wasn't a multiplayer mode at all. It hadn't even been started. It really was put in at the last minute. Something you wouldn't dream of doing these days. And it was all done without the knowledge or permission of the management at Rare and Nintendo. The first they knew about it was when we showed it to them working. However, since the game was already late by the time, if we hadn't done it that way, it probably never would have happened." And that, my friends, is a huge big ball moment. Making something on a game without even permission is a big no-no in the game industry. And as we all know, it was the absolute right decision because the multiplayer mode, hands down the best thing about GoldenEye, and it revolutionized first-person shooters as we know today. Well, that was my big ball story, and if you have any other stories that took a big pair, do let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, please subscribe, leave me a comment, hit the like button, and share this video. And thanks for watching, guys. You've been awesome.